Wife brought her affair partner to our anniversary dinner, so I served them both divorce papers as dessert. I'm Hunter, 34, and I work as a paleontologist for a natural history research institute. Sounds boring, right? Maybe. But you know what paleontology teaches you? Patience. How to carefully excavate truth from layers of sediment and BS. How to piece together a complete picture from fragments. And most importantly, that extinction events are usually preceded by subtle environmental changes that most creatures ignore. My wife Jasmine and I met 7 years ago at a fundraising gala. She was coordinating the event. She's a luxury event planner who handles those obscenely expensive charity galas where rich people pay $5,000 a plate to feel good about themselves. I was there representing the institute, desperately uncomfortable in my rented tux, giving a presentation about our latest Cretaceous period findings to people who couldn't give less of a F about dead dinosaurs. She saved me that night. Saw me drowning in small talk with pharmaceutical executives and swooped in with perfect timing. Dr. Morrison needs to review his notes for the auction segment, she'd said, leading me away. There was no auction segment. She just recognized someone who needed rescue. That was Jasmine, or who I thought she was. Observant, caring, strategic. Turns out I only got the strategic part right. The changes started 8 months ago, subtle as hairline fractures in bone. New gym membership. Client dinners that ran until 2 a.m. A sudden interest in Brazilian waxing that coincided with a work conference in Miami that I later learned never existed. Her iPad, forgotten on the kitchen counter, still receiving iMessages while she was supposedly in sessions. That's how I found out. Stupid, really. For someone who plans elaborate events with military precision, she forgot that her devices sync. Can't wait to taste you again tonight, sent to someone saved as R, venue contact. Tell him you're at Melissa's. I need you all night. F, the things you do with your tongue. I stood in my kitchen, reading months of messages, each one a perfectly preserved fossil of betrayal. The sender was Russ Kellerman, 38, a commercial real estate broker who actually was one of her venue contacts. He sourced high-end properties for her events. Apparently, he'd been sourcing a lot more than that. Here's where another man might have screamed, might have confronted her immediately, might have thrown her SHT on the lawn. But I'm not another man. I'm someone who spends months carefully extracting specimens from rock. I understand that the best revelations require methodical preparation. So I documented. Screenshots, times, dates. I hired a private investigator, $3,000 well spent. Within 2 weeks, I had a file that would make the NSA proud. Hotel receipts, credit card records she didn't know I could access, photographs of them entering his condo when she was supposedly at spin class. And then I found the gold. Russ was married. Teresa Kellerman, pediatric nurse, working nights at Children's Hospital. They had 2 kids. The F-king audacity of it all, destroying not one family but 2. I sat on this information for 3 months. 3 months of pretending I didn't know. 3 months of her climbing into our bed smelling like another man's cologne, thinking she was clever for showering at the gym. 3 months of I love you too, babe, while knowing she'd been texting him from our bathroom. You want to know what HL is? It's maintaining normalcy while your reality has already collapsed. It's kissing someone goodbye knowing they're driving straight to another man's bed. But I had a plan. Our 5th anniversary was coming up, October 15th. She'd made reservations at Moreau's, this pretentious French place downtown where she'd hosted several events. She knew the owner, knew the staff, knew exactly which table had the best view. Her turf. Her comfort zone. 2 weeks before our anniversary, my pie gave me the intelligence I needed. She was planning to bring him to the same restaurant, same night. Different reservation, supposedly different time. She'd told him it would be thrilling to have him there on our anniversary, that I was too oblivious to notice anything. They'd have drinks after I went home, believing she was with clients. That's when I decided to accelerate my timeline. I contacted my attorney, Harvard Law, specialized in high-asset divorces, particularly enjoyed cases of infidelity. $500 an hour, worth every penny. We structured everything perfectly. Moved assets legally but quietly. Documented everything admissible. Prepared papers that would leave her with exactly what she deserved, the minimum required by law. Then I called Teresa Kellerman. That conversation. F, hearing another person's world shatter in real time, knowing you're the asteroid causing the extinction event. But she deserved to know. She thanked me through tears, said she'd suspected but never had proof. We coordinated our responses. She would receive her package exactly when I delivered mine. The night arrived. October 15th, 7 p.m. reservation. I dressed carefully, my best suit, the watch she'd given me for our first anniversary, cologne she'd bought me last Christmas. Details matter in psychological warfare. I arrived early, convinced the maitre d' to give me a different table, one with perfect sight lines to the entire restaurant. Slipped him $200. He remembered me from Jasmine's events, gave me a knowing look that suggested he'd seen plenty of drama in his time. She arrived at 7:15, fashionably late as always. Wearing the black dress I'd bought her in Paris, the diamond earrings from our 3rd anniversary. She looked stunning, and for a moment, just a moment, I remembered why I'd fallen in love with her. Then I remembered those messages, and any nostalgia turned to ash. "You look beautiful," I said, standing to pull out her chair. "Thank you, baby. Happy anniversary." She kissed me, and I didn't flinch. Months of practice. We ordered wine, 2018 Burgundy, her favorite. Made small talk about her upcoming events, my latest research project. She was good, I'll give her that. Not a single tell that she was expecting someone else. Then, at 7:45, he walked in. Russ Kellerman looked exactly like his photos, tall, artificially whitened teeth, that specific brand of confidence that comes from selling overpriced real estate to people with too much money. He was seated 4 tables away, direct line of sight. He saw us immediately. I watched his face cycle through surprise, confusion, then careful neutrality. Jasmine hadn't noticed yet. She was reviewing the menu, talking about the foie gras. "Invite him over," I said casually. She looked up. "What?" "Russ. Your venue contact. He's sitting right there, dining alone. Seems rude not to invite him." The color drained from her face so fast I thought she might faint. I didn't notice him." "Really? That's strange. You're usually so observant." I raised my hand, waved him over before she could protest. "Russ. Join us." The next 60 seconds were a masterclass in panic management. Both of them trying to figure out if I knew, if this was a trap, if they should run. But social conditioning is powerful. In a restaurant full of people, with me smiling warmly, what could they do but comply? Russ approached like a man walking to his execution. "Hunter, Jasmine. What a surprise." Sit, I insisted, gesturing to the empty chair. "Can't have you dining alone. Besides, Jasmine speaks so highly of your work together." He sat. Jasmine's hands trembled as she reached for her wine. I poured Russ a glass from our bottle, the good host. "A toast," I said, raising my glass. "To truth and loyalty. The foundations of any good relationship, professional or personal." They drank. What else could they do? The appetizers arrived. I maintained perfect composure, asking Russ about commercial real estate, discussing market trends, acting fascinated by his insights. Jasmine barely touched her food. I watched her try to text under the table, probably warning him, but I'd been accidentally bumping the table, making her paranoid about being obvious. "You know what I love about my work?" I said, cutting into my pâté. "It's the detective aspect. Taking small clues, fragments really, and reconstructing entire stories. Like this fossil I'm working on, we found a single tooth, but from that, we can determine diet, age, environmental conditions. Amazing what stories tiny details can tell." Russ cleared his throat. That's interesting. Isn't it? Jasmine, remember that conference you attended in Miami? The one about sustainable event planning? I've been thinking about attending something similar for the Institute. What was the name of that hotel again? The Marriott, she managed. Marquis or Beachside? Marquis. Interesting. Because when I called to book, they had no record of any sustainability conference that week. They did, however, have a record of a Mrs. Morrison checking in. With a companion. The silence was exquisite. Other diners had started to notice the tension at our table. Jasmine's eyes were filling with tears, but I wasn't done. Not even close. "But let's not dwell on the past," I continued, voice perfectly steady. "Let's talk about the future." "Waiter." Our server appeared, professional smile in place. "We'll skip the main course. Just bring the dessert menu." "Actually, no, I have something special planned." I reached into my jacket pocket, pulled out a sleek black envelope. Slid it across the table to Jasmine. "Happy anniversary, darling." Her hand shook as she opened it. I watched her eyes scan the first page, petition for dissolution of marriage. Then the second page, screenshots of her messages. The third, Hotel receipts. The fourth, a photo of her entering Russ's condo. What the F is this? She whispered. Your anniversary gift. Though technically, it's for both of you. I turned to Russ. Teresa should be opening her copy right about now. I had it delivered to the hospital. Didn't want the kids to see it first. Russ went white. Not pale, white. Like all the blood had simply vanished from his face. You contacted my wife? Contacted, provided evidence, offered my attorney's information. She was very appreciative. Apparently, you've been working late quite often. She never suspected it was this kind of work. The restaurant had gone quiet. That specific silence that falls when everyone knows they're witnessing something momentous. Forks suspended midway to mouths, conversations abandoned, even the waitstaff frozen in place. Jasmine found her voice. Hunter, please. Let's discuss this at home. This isn't what? Appropriate? Neither was F-king him in our bed while I was at the conference in Denver. Oh yes, I know about that too. The neighbor's security camera has a lovely angle of our driveway. You son of a BCH, Russ started to stand. Sit down. My voice was quiet but carried. You really don't want to make this worse. Assault charges won't help your custody situation. He sat. Here's what's going to happen, I continued. Jasmine, you'll sign the papers. Uncontested. You get the car, your personal items, and $30,000. That's it. Try to fight for more, and every single person at your firm will receive these screenshots. Every client, every vendor, every professional contact in your network. Your reputation is worth more than money, isn't it? You can't. I can. I have. It's all perfectly legal. Ask your boyfriend, he must know some real estate lawyers. I stood, pulled out my wallet, left $500 on the table. Then I reached into my pocket one more time, pulled out her wedding ring. I'd been carrying it for weeks, since I'd had it removed from our joint safety deposit box. I set it on the table in front of her. You should have taken this off months ago. Would have been more honest. I looked at both of them, these two people who'd thought they were so clever, so careful. Enjoy dessert. I walked out of that restaurant with my head high, through a gauntlet of stares and whispers. The valet already had my car waiting. I'd texted him 5 minutes earlier. As I drove away, I didn't look back. Extinction events don't require witnesses, just results. Update 1. How I found out and why I waited. Posted 3 days after original. The response to my original post was intense. My DMs are a war zone between people calling me a sociopathic idiot and others asking for my attorney's number. Let me address some questions and fill in the gaps. First, to everyone saying I should have just divorced her quietly, you've clearly never been cheated on. There's a specific type of rage that comes from betrayal. It's not hot anger, it's cold, calculated fury. The kind that lets you smile at someone while imagining their world burning. Quiet divorce would have let them continue their affair, let them control the narrative, paint me as the bad guy who couldn't handle her success or some BS. No. They needed consequences. Now, let me tell you how this really started. The first red flag wasn't actually the gym membership or the late nights. It was a laugh. Sounds stupid, right? But in January, at one of her events, I heard her laugh at something Russ said. Not a polite professional laugh, the real one. The one I thought was mine. The one that came with the little snort she was embarrassed about. She was looking at him the way she used to look at me. I told myself I was being paranoid. We'd been together 7 years, married for 5. That's when things supposedly get routine, right? Everyone says marriage takes work. So I ignored it. February brought the gym membership. Specifically, Equinox, $200 a month for a gym when we had a perfectly good home setup. I need the classes for motivation, she said. Sure. The motivation's name was Russ, and he was definitely working her core. March was when her phone habits changed. Face down always. Taking it to the bathroom. Sudden password changes for security. She started using her iPad less, leaving it at home. That was her mistake, forgetting that iMessage syncs across devices. April 3rd, 2:47 p.m. I was working from home, writing a grant proposal. Her iPad dinged on the kitchen counter. A message preview, last night was incredible. When can I taste you again? You know that feeling when you're falling in a dream and you jolt awake? It was like that, except I was already awake and the falling wouldn't stop. I picked up the iPad. She'd never changed the passcode, still our anniversary date. Poetic, really? The messages went back 3 months. Explicit doesn't begin to cover it. There were photos, videos, SHT that would make PN Hub blush. But here's the thing about being a researcher, you don't stop at the first discovery. You dig deeper. I sat at my kitchen table for 4 hours, screenshotting everything, emailing it to a new account I created specifically for this purpose. Then I went deeper. Her email, same password, credit card statements, paperless billing to her email, location services, still sharing with me from when we set up Find My iPhone. The picture that emerged was comprehensive. They'd been F-king since January, right after that event where I'd noticed the laugh. Twice a week minimum, sometimes more. The Miami conference? She'd used our points to upgrade to a suite. Our F-king points. For him. I threw up. Twice. Then I sat on the bathroom floor and planned. The private investigator was a recommendation from a colleague who'd gone through something similar. $3,000 retainer, $150 an hour plus expenses. His name was Wade, former cop, looked like someone's grandfather. Utterly forgettable, which made him perfect. You want the full package? He'd asked at our first meeting. Everything. Financial, social, digital. I want to know what brand of CNDMS he prefers. That's going to get expensive. I don't care. Wade delivered. Within 3 weeks, I had a binder that would make the FBI jealous. Russ Kellerman, married for 12 years, 2 kids, boys, 8 and 10, mortgage on a house in Westfield, 3 rental properties leveraged to the hilt. He'd been promising Jasmine he'd leave his wife, classic BS. He'd also been F-king at least one other woman, a pharmaceutical sales rep named Courtney. That's right. My wife wasn't even his only side piece. The evidence was overwhelming, but I needed more than just proof of the affair. I needed leverage. That came from Jasmine's business. See, as a luxury event planner, she dealt with a lot of cash transactions. Rich people love to pay cash for additions to events, extra champagne, upgraded flowers, discreet party favors. Jasmine had been skimming. Not much, maybe $1,000 here and there, but over 3 years? Nearly $40,000 in unreported income. The IRS would be very interested. I wasn't going to use it unless I had to. I'm not a complete monster. But having that card in my back pocket gave me confidence. The hardest part was maintaining normalcy. We had sex twice during those 3 months. Both times, I had to imagine literally anything else to perform. She commented that I seemed distant. I blamed work stress. She was too relieved to push further, probably worried I was catching on. I started seeing a therapist in May. Not couples counseling, F that, just for me. Dr. Reeves, specialized in betrayal trauma. $250 a session, worth every penny for my sanity. You're compartmentalizing, she told me. It's a survival mechanism, but it's not sustainable. It doesn't have to be sustainable. It just has to last until October. Why October? Our anniversary. That's when I'm going to end it. She'd raised an eyebrow. That seems calculated. Everything about this is calculated. That's the only way I can control it. She was right about it being unsustainable. By September, I was barely sleeping, living on coffee and rage. I'd lost 15 pounds. Jasmine noticed, suggested I see a doctor. The concern in her voice almost broke me. Almost. The final piece fell into place in late September. Wade called with an interesting development. Your wife and the boyfriend have dinner reservations. October 15th, 8 p.m., Moreau's. Same restaurant as your anniversary dinner. You're kidding. Nope. Looks like she's planning to have her cake and eat it too. Your reservation is at 7, right? Yeah. Want me to keep digging? No. I have everything I need. I met with my attorney the next day. We reviewed everything, made sure every piece of evidence was admissible, every financial move legal and documented. You sure you want to do it publicly? He asked. Absolutely. It's going to be brutal. That's the point. The call to Teresa was the hardest part. I'd rehearsed it a dozen times, but how do you tell someone their life is a lie? Mrs. Kellerman? My name is Hunter Morrison. I need to speak with you about your husband. Is he okay? Has there been an accident? No, nothing like that. But, is there somewhere private we can talk? The conversation lasted an hour. She cried. Went silent. Got angry. Cried again. Asked for proof, which I emailed her while we were on the phone. The sound she made when she opened the first photo. I'll never forget it. Like all the air had been pulled from her lungs. How long? She finally asked. Since January. With my wife. There may be others. Others? I sent her the information about Courtney. More silence. What are you going to do? She asked. Divorce papers. October 15th. Publicly. Good. He deserves it. They both do. We coordinated our timing. She'd have him served at the hospital the same night. Their kids would be at her mother's, wouldn't have to witness anything. Thank you, she said before hanging up. For telling me. Most people wouldn't. You deserve to know. So did you. The morning of October 15th, I woke up calm. Eerily calm. Like the eye of a hurricane. Jasmine kissed me goodbye, said she'd see me at dinner, that she loved me. I said it back, enjoyed the irony. I spent the day at work, actually got a lot done. Submitted 2 grant proposals, reviewed a paper for publication. Normal day for anyone watching. Inside, I was counting hours. At 5 p.m., I went home, showered, dressed carefully. Put on the cologne she bought me, the watch she gave me. I wanted every detail to twist the knife a little deeper. The rest. Well, you read about that. Update 2, the legal battle and professional fallout. Posted 2 weeks after original. The last 2 weeks have been a blur of legal procedures, threatening texts, and unexpected allies. Let me catch you up. First, Jasmine didn't sign the papers that night. Of course she didn't. Instead, she hired Gerald Fitzgerald, a shark of a divorce attorney known for grinding husbands into dust. $750 an hour, and she was paying with money from our joint account before I could freeze it. My attorney had expected this. She's going to come at you hard, he warned. Claim emotional abuse, say you set her up, paint you as controlling and vindictive. Let her try. The first salvo came 3 days after the restaurant. A formal letter demanding 50% of all assets, including my retirement accounts, plus alimony based on her sacrificing career opportunities for our marriage. F. King hilarious, considering she made more than me most years. My attorney's response was beautiful. 12 pages of documented evidence, including 147 screenshots of explicit messages, 23 hotel receipts, 14 credit card charges at lingerie stores, cross-referenced with dates she definitely wasn't wearing them for me. Security footage from our neighbor showing Russ's car in our driveway on 6 occasions when I was traveling. The Pie's full report with photos. A forensic accounting report showing her undeclared income. But here's where it gets interesting. Remember how I mentioned Jasmine was skimming cash from events? Well, one of those events was a charity gala for the mayor's re-election campaign. Turns out, the mayor's office doesn't appreciate learning that their fundraiser was pocketing donations. I didn't report her, I'm not that vindictive. But someone did. Maybe a vendor who heard about the restaurant incident and connected some dots. Maybe a competitor who smelled blood in the water. Either way, Jasmine was suddenly under investigation for tax evasion and fraud. Her attorney called mine within 24 hours of the investigation opening. Your client is playing dirty, Fitzgerald growled. My client is protecting his assets from someone who's already proven untrustworthy with finances, my attorney responded. We have documentation of financial irregularities that we're legally obligated to provide if subpoenaed. The threat was clear, fight us, and we'll bury you with your own crimes. Meanwhile, Russ's world was imploding spectacularly. Teresa had not only served him papers but also sent the evidence to his employer. Turns out, using company resources, his corporate apartment, to conduct an affair violates most employment contracts. He was placed on administrative leave pending investigation. But Teresa wasn't done. She went full scorched earth. Posted everything on Facebook. Tagged his family, his colleagues, his clients. The real estate community in our city is small and gossipy. Within a week, 3 major clients had pulled their contracts. His rental properties were leveraged against each other. Without steady commission income, he couldn't make payments. Then Courtney, the pharmaceutical rep, decided to enter the chat. She sued Russ for intentional infliction of emotional distress, claiming he'd promised to leave his wife for her, not knowing about Jasmine. Her attorney contacted mine, wanting to coordinate. I declined. My war was with Jasmine, not the extended cast of this soap opera. By day 10, Jasmine's position was crumbling. The IRS investigation meant her assets were frozen. Her firm had suspended her pending the outcome. 3 of her biggest clients canceled contracts, citing reputational concerns. The mayor's office publicly distanced themselves from her. That's when she tried the emotional manipulation. She showed up at my office. Security called me down. She was crying in the lobby, begging to see me. 5 minutes, I told security. In the conference room, with witnesses. She looked destroyed. Designer clothes replaced with jeans and a sweatshirt, no makeup, hair unwashed. The composed event planner was gone, replaced by someone I didn't recognize. Hunter, please. You're destroying my life. No, you destroyed your life. I'm just documenting it. I made a mistake. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. You made choices. Hundreds of them. Every text, every lie, every time you f'd him was a choice. I love you. I laughed. Actually laughed. You love me? You brought your affair partner to our anniversary dinner. You f'd him in our bed. You spent our money on lingerie for him. That's not love, that's sociopathy. What do you want? What I asked for originally. Sign the papers. Take the $30,000 and leave. Or keep fighting and lose everything. That's not enough to start over. Then you should have thought about that before you started this. She tried tears, tried anger, tried seduction. Seriously, she touched my arm and leaned in. Nothing worked. I'd spent 3 months building walls, she wasn't getting through them in 5 minutes. You've become cruel, she said as security escorted her out. No, I've become done. The next day, her attorney called mine. She'd signed the original agreement with one modification, $50,000 instead of $30,000. My attorney recommended accepting. It's $20,000 to be completely free of her, he said. Worth it. I agreed. Papers were signed within 72 hours. The marriage that took 5 years to build was dissolved in 2 weeks. But the story doesn't end there. Russ, desperate and facing financial ruin, did something stupendously stupid. He tried to blackmail me. Sent an email saying he had intimate photos of Jasmine that he'd release unless I paid him $100,000. I forwarded the email to my attorney, who forwarded it to the police. Blackmail is a felony. Russ was arrested at what used to be his office, in front of his colleagues. The photos he threatened to release? They were from their texts, I already had copies. The man was so desperate he tried to blackmail me with evidence I'd provided to my own attorney. Teresa called me after his arrest. You know what the funny part is? She said. Thank you. Not for the pain, but for the truth. I was living a lie and didn't know it. How are your boys? Confused, hurt, but they'll be okay. Kids are resilient. Their father, however, is not. He's living in his car, last I heard. And you? I'm going to be fine. Better than fine. I got the house, the savings, and full custody. My sister's a realtor, she's helping me sell the house. I'm moving closer to my parents, starting fresh. Good for you. Can I ask you something? Do you regret doing it publicly? Humiliating them like that? I thought about it. No. They humiliated us first, in private. Every lie, every betrayal, every time they looked us in the eye and said I love you while planning their next session. At least I gave them the courtesy of an audience. She laughed, dark but genuine. When you put it that way. Cheers to public executions. The professional fallout for Jasmine continued. The IRS investigation resulted in $47,000 in back taxes and penalties. Her professional insurance dropped her. She had to sell her Mercedes to pay legal fees. Last I heard, she was working as an assistant at a small event company 2 towns over. Russ is still awaiting trial for the blackmail charge. Meanwhile, I'm in therapy twice a week, working through the trauma. Dr. Reeves says I'm making progress, though she's concerned about what she calls my emotional detachment. You executed your plan perfectly, she said. But at what cost? My dignity intact and my assets protected. And your ability to trust? That's the real damage, isn't it? Not the money, not the house, not even the betrayal itself. It's the scar tissue it leaves behind. Every future relationship will carry the shadow of this one. Every I love you will come with an asterisk. Every late night at work will trigger suspicion. But I'd rather be scarred and free than oblivious and trapped. Update 3, 6 months later, the aftermath and unexpected revelations. Final update. It's been 6 months since the restaurant incident. 6 months since I detonated my life to destroy theirs. I've debated whether to write this update, but I figure you deserve to know how this story actually ends, not with the dramatic explosion, but with the quiet aftermath. First, the legal conclusions. Russ pleaded guilty to attempted extortion, Got 2 years probation and 200 hours of community service. His real estate license was revoked. Last I heard from Teresa, he's working at a car dealership in Jersey, living in a studio apartment. His Instagram, once full of luxury properties and client dinners, hasn't been updated since October. Jasmine settled with the IRS, paying fines that essentially wiped out the $50,000 from our divorce. She fought the fraud investigation related to the mayor's campaign and won. Technically, she was sloppy with accounting, not criminal. Small victory, I suppose. She blocked me on everything, which is fine. There's nothing left to say, but here's what I didn't expect: the collateral damage to myself. I thought I'd feel victorious, vindicated, free. Instead, I felt empty. Like I'd spent so much energy on the destruction that I had nothing left for reconstruction. My apartment felt like a crime scene I couldn't leave. Every corner held a ghost of our life together: the coffee table we bought at an estate sale, the kitchen where I read those messages, the bedroom where. Yeah. So I moved. Got a smaller place closer to work, modern and sterile and completely without history. My colleague joked it looked like a serial killer's apartment, everything white and gray, nothing personal. He wasn't wrong. The nightmares started in December. Not about Jasmine or the affair, about the restaurant. Except in the dreams, I'm the one being exposed. Everyone's staring at me, reading my secrets, judging my failures. I wake up sweating, heart pounding, sometimes yelling. My therapist says it's my subconscious processing the guilt. Guilt? I asked. They betrayed me. Yes, but you chose how to respond. That choice is weight, regardless of justification. She's right. I became someone I didn't recognize, calculating, cruel, orchestrating maximum damage. Was it justified? Maybe. Was it who I wanted to be? That's harder to answer. I tried dating in February. Met a woman named Carol through a colleague. She's a marine biologist, smart, beautiful, genuinely kind. We went out 4 times. She was perfect on paper, probably in reality too. But when she stayed over for the first time and I saw her toothbrush next to mine the next morning, I had a panic attack. Full blown, couldn't breathe, thought I was dying panic attack. Ended things that afternoon with some BS excuse about not being ready. She deserved better than my damage. Work became my refuge. I published 3 papers, got a grant for a major excavation in Montana. My career has never been better, probably because it's the only thing I can control anymore. Bones don't lie. Fossils don't betray. The dead are infinitely more trustworthy than the living. Then, last month, something unexpected happened. I was presenting at a conference in Denver when I recognized someone in the audience, Melissa Patterson, Jasmine's former best friend and business partner. They'd had a falling out years ago, something about a client Jasmine had stolen. I tried to avoid her, but she cornered me at the cocktail reception. "Hunter, we need to talk. I have nothing to say about Jasmine." "This isn't about her." "Well, not exactly. It's about what you don't know." My stomach dropped. After everything, what else could there be? Melissa told me that Jasmine's affair with Russ wasn't her first. There had been another, 2 years into our marriage, with a client named Philippe. Melissa had known, had fought with Jasmine about it, which led to their partnership dissolving. "I should have told you," she said. But Jasmine convinced me it was a one-time mistake, that she'd never do it again. I believed her. "I'm sorry." I stood there, bourbon in hand, trying to process this. My entire revenge had been based on a false premise, that this was a singular betrayal, a recent wound. Instead, I'd been a fool for longer than I knew. "How many others?" I asked. "I don't know. Philippe for sure. Maybe others." She was good at compartmentalizing. Compartmentalizing. The same word my therapist used about me. That night, I sat in my hotel room and laughed. Actually laughed until I cried, then cried until I couldn't breathe. The meticulous planning, the perfect execution, the public humiliation, all of it based on incomplete data. I was a paleontologist who'd reconstructed the wrong extinction event. I'd carbon dated the betrayal wrong. The revelation should have made me angrier. Instead, it made me tired. Bone deep, soul-crushing tired. How many nights had she come home to me after F-king someone else? How many times had I missed the signs because I trusted her? How many people knew before I did? I called my therapist from Denver, had an emergency session over video. "Does this change how you feel about what you did?" she asked. "It makes it feel both more justified and more pointless," I said. Like I performed surgery to remove a tumor that had already metastasized. You couldn't have known. But that's the point, I'll never know everything. I could hire another pie, dig deeper, find every single transgression. But what would it accomplish? She's already gone. That's when something shifted. The anger that had been my companion for 8 months started to dissipate. Not forgiveness, F that, but exhaustion. I was tired of carrying her with me, tired of defining myself by her betrayal. I returned from Denver and did something I should have done months ago. I packed everything that reminded me of her. Photos, gifts, even things that were technically mine but carried her memory. I didn't burn them dramatically or throw them away in some symbolic gesture. I just put them in storage. Maybe someday I'll be able to look at them without feeling anything. Not today, though. Then Teresa called. She wanted to meet for coffee, said she had news. We met at a small place downtown, far from anywhere we might run into mutual connections. She looked good, healthier, lighter somehow. I wanted to thank you again, she started. You already did. No, I mean really, thank you. Not just for telling me, but for how you did it. You could have just sent an anonymous tip, but you gave me evidence, support, even your attorney's information. You treated me with dignity during the worst moment of my life. You deserve the truth. So did you. She paused, stirred her coffee. I'm seeing someone. That surprised me. Already? It's new, casual, but nice. He's a doctor at the hospital, divorced himself. He understands the baggage. Good for you. What about you? Tried. Failed. Not ready. You will be. Maybe. She leaned forward. Can I tell you something? What you did at that restaurant. It was brutal, calculated, and probably unhealthy. But it was also the exact shock Russ needed. He'd been living consequence-free for years. Multiple affairs, financial schemes, treating people as disposable. You didn't just expose him, you exposed the system that enabled him. I wasn't trying to be noble. I know. You were trying to survive. But sometimes survival and justice intersect. We talked for another hour. About the kids, adjusting well, about work, she got a promotion, about the strange camaraderie of betrayed spouses. Before she left, she said something that stuck with me. You know what I realized? They didn't just cheat on us. They cheated us out of the chance to leave with dignity the first time. Every lie extended a prison sentence we didn't know we were serving. Last week marked 1 year since I found those messages on the iPad. I took the day off, drove out to the Montana site where we're excavating. Spent the day in the dirt, carefully extracting a 67-million-year-old hadrosaur femur. There's something therapeutic about excavation, removing layers of sediment, revealing truth buried by time. My graduate student asked why I became a paleontologist. I like puzzles with definitive answers, I told him. This bone is either 67 million years old or it isn't. It belonged to a hadrosaur or it didn't. There's no interpretation, no betrayal, no gaslighting. Just facts. Sounds lonely, he said. Sometimes. But loneliness is just solitude with the wrong perspective. The truth is, I don't know if I'll ever trust anyone completely again. The scar tissue is thick, maybe permanent. But I'm starting to realize that's okay. Trust isn't binary, it's a spectrum. I trust my colleagues with my research. I trust my friends with my time. Maybe someday I'll trust someone with more. Or maybe I won't. Either outcome is acceptable now. People ask if I regret the public humiliation, the calculated destruction, the nuclear option. The answer changes depending on the day. Sometimes I wish I'd just walked away quietly, maintained the high road. Other times, I remember the satisfaction of watching their faces crumble, and I feel no remorse whatsoever. Most days, it's just something that happened, like the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. Devastating, transformative, but ultimately just another extinction event in a long history of them. Jasmine reached out once, through a mutual friend. Wanted to apologize, to explain, to find closure. I declined. Some stories don't need epilogues. Some wounds don't need to be reopened for the sake of someone else's healing. The friend pushed, don't you want to know why she did it? No, I said, and meant it. The why doesn't change the what. Here's what I've learned. Revenge, even perfectly executed, doesn't heal anything. It's chemotherapy for betrayal. It might kill the cancer, but it nearly kills you too. The collateral damage is real, extensive, and sometimes permanent. I won't lie and say I completely regret it, because watching them face consequences was satisfying in a primal way. But I also won't pretend it made me whole. I'm different now. Harder in some ways, more fragile in others. I can spot lies faster but trust slower. I sleep alone without loneliness but can't imagine sharing a bed without anxiety. I've become excellent at endings but terrible at beginnings. My therapist says I'm making progress. We've moved from twice a week to once. The nightmares are less frequent. I can go whole days without thinking about any of it. That's progress, I suppose. Last thing, someone asked in my DMs if I ever found out how many people knew about the affair before I did. The answer is at least 12. 12 people who saw them together, who knew what was happening, who chose silence over telling me. I don't blame them, it wasn't their responsibility. But it's changed how I see social contracts. We're all walking around with each other's secrets, choosing daily whether to reveal or conceal. The silence of strangers can be as damaging as the lies of lovers. To those in similar situations reading this, I can't tell you whether to choose the nuclear option or the high road. Both paths lead to the same destination, alone, starting over, fundamentally changed. The only difference is the debris field you leave behind. Choose wisely, or at least choose consciously. The aftermath lasts longer than the explosion. To those who've been through this, you know the weight of carrying someone else's betrayal. You know the exhaustion of hypervigilance, the cost of rebuilding from scratch. We're a club nobody wants to join but everybody recognizes. We see each other in the careful way we phrase things, the walls we build, the distances we maintain. And to Jasmine, if you ever read this, I don't forgive you. I don't hate you either, not anymore. You're just someone I used to know who became someone I needed to survive. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's archaeology. You're just bones now, buried in sediment, a fossil record of a different geological era. I thought this story would end with triumph or tragedy. Instead, it ends with Tuesday, me, alone in my sterile apartment, writing this update on my laptop, a glass of whiskey at hand, Montana dirt still under my fingernails. No symphony, no credits rolling, just the quiet hum of the air conditioner and the distant sound of life happening to other people. But here's the thing, I'm okay with that. Not happy, not healed, but okay. And after everything, okay feels like its own kind of victory. The marriage is over. The revenge is complete. The healing continues. Some things stay extinct. Final edit, to everyone who's reached out with their own stories, thank you. Your messages have been a reminder that betrayal is universal but survival is personal. We all excavate our past differently. Some with dynamite, some with brushes. Both methods reveal truth, both leave scars. And to the person who asked if I'd do it again the same way, ask me in another year. The answer might surprise us both. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.